Welcome to the Neo operational video series for software version 3.7. These videos are designed for targeted instruction to get you up to speed quickly and simply. This video targets color palettes. So the first thing to really make sure that we're set up on before we actually record any color palettes is that when we record them, it's recording the data that we want it to include. So we are going to go to the groups display and under options, edit palette types. Now here is where you can edit all of the different palette types that it's going to record for the different attribute families. So if we look here at color, we can see the top portion of this list will allow you to select families. So if you wanted to, although it would be rather unusual, you could include position information when you record your color. I'm going to turn that off just to show you how you can change that. Now below this line, this will show actual parameters so that you can adjust those individually. The one called Color Mixer 1 is the one that's doing RGB or RGBW for the fixtures that are patched. It's also important to understand that this list is populated by what is patched within the show files. So this list may change or be different on your show file than what you happen to see here in this video. But for example, in color, I will probably want to include the color family, but maybe for some very specific reason, I don't want it to include CTO. So I could just simply turn that off, or maybe I wanted it to include or to not include color wheels. So I could turn that information off. So you can adjust this as needed. Then when you're done, you can hit save. If you want to, you can say save as default. I'm going to go ahead and hit save, even though all I've really done is put everything back to the way it was. So then we can close out of our groups display. And what I'll do now is grab my LEDs and we'll store some color palettes based upon these LEDs. So I'm going to say 101 through enter, which will select all of my RGBW fixtures. And I'll put them at full. And in this particular case, I'm just going to select a color from the color palette. And now everybody's blue. And we're going to look at storing color using command line. So I'm going to say record color. And notice that it says record color selected. So that's going to store all the fixtures, just color information for the fixtures of the ones I have selected. If I want that to be a different type of record, I can hit the color button again and that will go to change. Hit color again, go to live, then the selected, and those are the options, and you can just hit the color button to cycle through all of those. So I could hit enter right now, and what that would do is store the next available color palette number, and we don't have any recorded so far, so that would be 1, and that would be it, and it would be called color 1, and that's it. But I'm going to be a little more specific, so I'm going to go ahead and say 1, and I'll hit the edit key, which will allow me to create a label for this, and we're going to call it blue. So now this has been stored as a color palette. It's called blue. We can see the name show up in the color bubble in the classic channel grid. We can also see the label show up within the attribute window next to the actual values of RG, B, and white. So everything is there. And I can also see the information if I open up my channel groups and go to my color page, and there it is. So I'll just hit release, and now if I want to apply this to say 101, then I can hit 101 full, and I could say at color 1 enter. That will apply it. I'm going to say home, just to put everything back to default, and then show how you can access it through that channel group window again in colors, and I can click on it that way. Now let's look at the graphical way that we can store a color. So I'm going to release to sort of start fresh, and I'm going to say 101 through enter, turn everybody on, And what I'm going to do is select a yellow from the color picker. And now I'm going to type record, and I'll go up to my channel groups, go in the color, click on a unstored position, and it will come up with a box that'll ask me to label it, and we're going to call this yellow. And now this has been stored as yellow. So I can use these channel groups to go back and forth from one color to another. I could also say at color 1 enter, and that will go to color 1, or at color 2 enter, and that will go to color 2. So that's pretty much that on creating color palettes as well as applying them. Now if we want to edit this information, let's say the yellow really wants to be really a little more like that, so a little redder. So I pulled out some of the green, and I'm going to say update color 2, enter, and now that has been edited for that color. So there we are. That's recording, applying and editing color palettes. Thanks for watching this Neo operational video for software version 3.7. Go to the Phillips Strand website at www.strandlighting.com for many more videos on Neo programming and operation.